For years, Britain has been a world leader in sport. But today, thanks to greater leisure, the people of this country are taking a more active part in sport than ever before. And it's not just the men. While it may still be true that women's work is never done, many of them are finding more spare time between the household chores and looking for something active and interesting to do with it. Labour-saving devices in the home have opened the door for many a housewife to get out more often than her mother or grandmother was ever able to do. These two women are turning up for a game which in one form or another has belonged to men right back to the Stone Age. Not anymore. Suddenly, in the space of a year or so, daytime leagues of women players of this sport have sprung up in the big cities. And today, more than 10% of all league players are women. They roll up, children and all, because even their baby minding is done for them while they play. In the bright new bowling centres now opening in many parts of Britain, there are nurseries with trained nannies in charge and stacks of toys. Everywhere the game is played, the housewives are banding themselves into teams, averaging 4 a side, usually groups of friends, to play in league matches by day. It's said that women in Britain get together less than elsewhere, but that's changing, now that they're no longer tied to their homes. The bowling teams they're organising among themselves carry their own emblems and mascots. One team calls itself the Dolphins, because they felt like fish out of water at first. Then there are the Coronets and the Red Shoes, the Dish Mops and the Ladybirds. There's a whole league called the Tight Jaws, for those who claim never to gossip. But this example of a growing change in women's leisure habits is only part of it. The pattern has changed for men, too. The big spectator sport attendances have been losing a tremendous whack of their following. Football, a fifth in the past 5 years. Cricket, a quarter. Whatever the men are doing, they are sharing their leisure more. And this helps to account for the spread in popularity of such sports as 10-pin bowling. Cameras are recording part of a change in Britain. Today, our surroundings, our social life, our amusements are changing. And this game is a spectacular expression of that change. It's only 4 years since it was introduced publicly into Britain, yet already it's a national sport. It's one of the few in the world where equality between the sexes is absolute, unless you count darts and shove halfpenny. In 1 year, 10 million games have been played by men, women and children. In the mixed leagues, women champions are now emerging to challenge the men. Not superior strength or staying power, but personal skill is what sends all those 10 pins flying. Many of the better women players are qualifying for coaching jobs. The Bowl, as the new army of devotees calls it, is fast becoming a community centre. In addition to the nurseries, they have members' clubs, some with restaurants, dance floors and quick service buffets, and some are linked with cinemas. Southend has a big new bowling centre right on its famous pier, with views all round of the sea and shoreline. Already, there are 70 major bowling centres in Britain, and within another 3 years, at the present rate of growth, there'll be more than 200. The vogue is sweeping Europe too, and no fewer than 37 countries have applied to enter teams in the Olympic Games. The bowling centres are searching out those places where people have to wait around. Several big terminals, such as London Airport, already have a bowl. for the traveller between planes, the local housewives, and working girls coming off duty like these ground hostesses. Skyport fields one of the best teams in the country. It's a game well suited to keeping one in good shape. Another reason for the astonishing spread of this new sport is that it arrived in Britain fully grown and highly organized. Now everything is automated to pamper the customer. Electronic machinery counts the number of games played. It sweeps the fallen pins clear, resets those left standing, and returns the ball to your hand with the smoothness and care of a well-trained slave. It dries your palm if it's moist, and it even polishes the bowling lanes all on its own. Many of the new champions who are becoming names in the sports columns came to bowling because they say it's the only game they've found for the whole family. And that in turn has discovered new champions even from the ranks of children. This is David Jones in action at Streatham, London. He's 11 years old and already a giant killer. He not only thrashes Dad every time they play, he's just become the star of a senior men's league by smashing their bowling records. Some of the biggest firms in the country are now sponsoring their own 10-pin bowling leagues and putting up trophies. Among the first to recognize this new national sport have been the fashion designers. They've entered the field with styles specially created for women bowlers. After all, there's nothing like a cutely turned out partner to put a zip into your game. And since it's come this far, we may soon see the time when they model maternity wear for women bowlers. If you think that's kidding, consider the news that there is already in existence a bowling league for expectant mothers. They too have adopted a name. They call themselves the Ladies in Waiting.